Ooh, that is definitely not good. Hey everyone, so we're back at the school, and of course, nothing ever leaks on a convenient schedule. So, for some reason, this roof has not leaked for the whole time I've been here, and all of a sudden, after a couple days of rain, we have a swollen tile. So I'm gonna pop that down and hopefully get an idea of what's going on. I'm fully expecting a disaster. Let's turn off these lights first. And, well, before that, let's boot up the thermal camera and see if there's any other obvious leakages here. Okay. Well, it's all about the same. Once we pop it down, we'll be able to see. Well, I'm gonna go throw on some gloves. See what's going on here, one piece at a time. Ooh, that was holding some water, and that's all over me now. All right. Yep. All right, so I guess these are retrofit cans. These are soaked. Not great. That was a lot of water that just came down. Let's just pop this guy out first. Retrofit can. Okay, there you go. Well, I mean, at least the can's not wet than we expected. All right. This really would be better if it was a multi-person job. And there's the rest. All right. Tell me some good news. Thing is, the decking looks dry, but water is allocating here for some reason. It has been raining for a few days, and I only see one spot dripping. And I suppose that tiny spot is causing all this. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go downstairs and grab that ladder. Let's hope what we see is so that is where the water's coming from. Well then, and I'm not sure if you can tell, there's a gap. There's a gap right there, and there's water. And you can tell this kind of thing has happened before, because if you look over here, there's a big old rust hole. A big old rust hole. So, this has definitely happened before, and yeah, and you can see there's water here, but it is dripping right there because of that crack, that infiltration right there. So, yeah, so it's been dripping. It's been dripping. I mean, if you look up in here, I mean, everything else seems pretty dry. These can lights are just literally set up here and not. So I noticed this in editing, and all these circles are rust holes. So either one of two things is happening here. Either this is galvanic corrosion, or somebody tried to weld this decking to these trusses, which I don't think is very likely. So I do think this is most likely galvanic corrosion. So galvanic corrosion occurs when two dissimilar metals are in contact. One becomes an anode and one becomes a cathode. one metal will lose electron to the other one, and the one that loses electrons will tend to corrode faster. There's another hole over there. So yep, there's another hole over there. So that is what's happening. It's a light drip between the seams here. That's where the water's coming through. This seam, and then it's dripping through here. And I mean, obviously that's also because of roof drainage. So, I mean, I don't know what else we can do about that aside from fix or patch that area. What I'm gonna do for now is I'm gonna tie a string there and hopefully redirect that water down into a trash can. All right, guys. So essentially what I've done is I found a spare piece of copper, and what I'm gonna do is I'm essentially just making a small drip line. So I'm gonna wrap this around where I see the drip, and then I'm going to redirect this into the garbage can. That way, I don't have a splattering liquid everywhere, which you know, is always something nobody wants. And I can control where this drip is, and you can see it's actually working pretty well. So you can see the water dripping off. It is not touching anything else. It is just streaming off that tiny drip line into my garbage can below. So obviously this needs to be fixed. This is not a permanent solution. I do not want a piece of copper hanging from my ceiling and dripping the whole time. I just wanted to kind of redirect that water so it's not, you know, filling up the ceiling cavity. And I suppose while we're here, we should do a little inspection of the rest here. So once again, that didn't leak for a really long time, and all of a sudden it started leaking again. So I don't know what's going on. It probably is because of roof drainage, and also the roof itself definitely needs to be replaced. It was not leaking at the time, and I think because multiple days of rain, water has just basically built up. And the funny thing is, the reason why I came up here was so I can write everything down on this whiteboard to kind of give everyone an overview and a list. So that's kind of funny. And whoever wrote these squiggly lines wrote in permanent marker. So that's also fun. So I'm gonna clean that up and hopefully retrieve my light and write down some tasks here. And of course, my OCD, I can't leave all this ceiling crap on the ground. And I do realize there's ceiling stuff in my hair in editing, but I did not know at the time of recording, so I look silly. And this is permanent marker. So I noticed in the video that there's a wet spot here, so this is later that night. That's why I'm wearing a different jacket here. And there's another leaking hole here, so great. All right, so there's a little bit of moisture here, as was noted, and that is from this pipe penetration coming through the ceiling here. And that's what's causing the drip, which is dripping down onto here. So this can be sealed from the outside, but there's something interesting that I noticed. All of these holes, you see they look corroded in a very, very interesting way. And it looks like either, this actually looks like weld slag, and that made me notice a couple of things up here. If you notice over here, every single piece of this has some sort of, sorry, I'm trying not to fall off the ladder here. Every single piece here has some sort of corrosion. So it's one of two things. Either somebody tried to weld these together, as you see, which seems unlikely. Or this is galvanic corrosion. It is the exchange of electrons between two dissimilar metals, and it is causing it to... Hey guys, I'm doing multiple episodes this week, so hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.